Okay, let's lower this show screen. Hello, folks. Good evening, or actually, good afternoon. Welcome to episode 243. And today we have Coach Tony Blauer, who I'm going to be bringing up right now, and co-hosting with me, who had an interest in also interviewing Coach Tony, is my co-host with the co-most, Guru Tom Pena. So, folks, I'm bringing them up now, and here they are. Coach Tony, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy and all that, and I hope you don't mind. Guru Tom here is a big fan of yours, so he wanted to jump in.
Pleasure to meet you, Coach.
Of course, good to meet you.
Yeah. And so, Coach Tony, did you have any problems getting through with my secretary? Because I'm coming.
No, all good. I actually had trouble logging on today. I was spazzing out. I had to reset my Facebook, and so
No
I was
worries.
a couple minutes late. Yeah.
Jenny sent me a message. I guess you got a bolt at 3 or 12 for you.
Yeah, I've got a hard stop in an hour. I hope that's not
okay. No.
I don't know how long these typically can. I mean,
we'll make it work. So no worries. So just quickly, because we got an hour, when you were on before, just in case for the folks who might not have seen that first episode, I just wondered if you wouldn't mind maybe just giving some brief explanations on basically, what it is you're about and what you do as far as your system is concerned. In other words, the Blauer tactical system, your biological response, how you incorporate that, ultimately Spear, if that'd be okay with you.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm here for you guys. So we only have an hour, so I don't know where to start. I'm Dean. I made jokes about how old I am. I think on a couple of our other talks.
Yeah.
I can't believe I turned 61 this year, and I can't believe.
Well, you don't look it.
Wow, you don't look it yet. Definitely.
You guys notice they didn't say you look 62. They just said I don't look 61. So
there you go.
Man, I've been a martial artist my whole life, even before I was a martial artist. In the 60s, I grew up watching, Green Hornet with Bruce Lee and watching the Wild Wild West with Robert Conrad. And I was always drawn to the fighting, no matter what was going on. And this is the 60s, right? Black and white, moving to color in the house, and little TVs with the antennas, and you're watching.
Oh yeah.
And whenever there was fighting on, I was like, oh my god, leaning right into that. I also grew up. I was a competitive athlete. I skied, I wrestled, I played tennis, all these sports. But I just wrote an article on this. And it's really what inspired my whole No Fear program, the whole fear management. I've got a whole other part of my company that's dedicated to performance psychology, managing fear, resiliency. We work with therapists, psychologists, hospitals. It's amazing how it's grown. But that was born out of me as a kid, afraid of fear. Now, everyone's afraid of fear. If you think about it, it's like, well, that's scary. It could be a spider. It could be a snake. It could be sparring. It could be a fight. It could be... it could be, I'm afraid to get married. I'm afraid to get divorced. I'm afraid to defend myself. I'm afraid with what's going on with the world right now. Right. And you look at how fear has been weaponized right now. We don't realize, we don't realize at the subtlest level, guys, that fear actually is the driving, almost invisible force in our lives. You look at maybe the three of us on here, we all got into martial arts because we didn't want to be victims of bullying or violence.
Yeah,
that's true.
Most people do. And then they might go off on, the pursuit of the art and understanding the cultural or the physical or the emotional, psychological. But most people that I talk to originally get into some sort of martial art because of fear. They don't say that. They say, "Oh, I had a bully situation," or I heard it was good for confidence. When you peel the onion, everything is fear in our lives. And my website where I say, who we talk to, therefore who we marry, who are our friends, how much money we make, how much weight we lift, whether or not we defend ourselves. All of these things go through an unconscious fear filter just before something's about to happen. You hear a commotion, you're out with some friends at a bar. Before your brain can even register, you've decided they're too big, they're too small, there's too many, they look like they have weapons, I'm alone. And our brain is calculating this, even if you're not like trained as a, let's say, a bodyguard or military or law enforcement who's trained to threat discriminate like that. Anyways, I digress. That was a little mini. So that's
that's good. That's a good point. Yes.
So part of my mission is to create more self-awareness for good humans to understand that, right? And the more we understand how fear influences our choices, the greater our self-awareness. The greater our self-awareness, the better our critical thinking. The better our critical thinking, then fear doesn't get weaponized. That's the way it is, right now through media and governments and stuff like that. Now, back to my martial journey. Why I did that little detour on the fear management is because that's why I got into martial arts specifically. I was before I started training, which is around 1972. I've been wrestling for years, but I was wrestling because wrestling was one of the things we could do at school, and I thought it would make me tougher. But I was scared shitless every match, no matter how. And I was a very good wrestler, but I was afraid of the fear. So this, understand this. I wasn't afraid of the opponent. I was afraid with how I was feeling. Am I this good? Do I suck?
Yeah.
Why do I have butterflies? How come I'm not breathing properly? Most coaches don't know how to articulate this. So this is another mission of mine in the self-defense community, martial art community, is politics has been part of our industries for forever, right?
Yes.
For decades, but probably for 1,000 years. It's like, no, don't train with them. They're from this other clan or whatever, so the politics has always been there. What I'm trying to do and have always done, but I need to break through this unconscious barrier, is I'm not the bad guy because I'm from a different system. The bad guy is the bad guy in the street. The bad guy is the
the bad
guy's the threat, not the other martial artist.
Yes, exactly.
As you all know, there's a lot of martial artists that are bullies online, that are bullies in person, mostly online.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
A lot of them.
A lot of people say things on text that they wouldn't, come to your school and say in front of your face. And this isn't a challenge, guys. The challenge here is to realize, and I'm not trying to be touchy-feely here. We can all learn stuff from each other and all that. That's so true. But I've spent decades studying the neurobiology of survival, the neuroscience of learning, what are natural instinctive movements when faced with a sudden threat. And to be honest, and I was flattered, Dean, when you reached out to me. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but in 1993, I closed my school and stopped dealing with martial artists completely for decades because an audience discovered me that wasn't interested in what belt I was. They wasn't interested in what my lineage was. They wanted to know if my research would make them safer. And that audience were protectors, active duty law enforcement, active duty military. So, that is what I've been doing. That's what my company's main business now is, training law enforcement, military. And we do have close to 200 affiliates around the world, FMA, Krav, Jiu-Jitsu, Thai boxing. And these are conscientious professionals that go, you know what? I'm really good at Thai, or I'm really good at FMA, or I'm really good at Jiu-Jitsu or Wing Chun. We have a guy that, he's 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", in the Netherlands. I know a little bit of Wing Chun. If we did sticky hands together or did some stuff, he would go right through me. But I'm still his coach or his mentor when it comes to authentic scenario-based training, neurobiology of fear, recalibrating from the startle flinch, how to set up safe scientific scenarios, how to analyze and reverse engineer from CCTV and actual violence.
Yeah.
So your scenarios shouldn't be sparring. Your scenario should be based on real life events. So I'm all over the place right now, but I'm trying to encapsulate
No.
No, it's actually good.
Actually,
Yeah. like over 4 decades. But in 1972, I got jumped by 2 guys. I wasn't hurt other than emotionally. They were a few years older than me, 2-3 years older than me. I went home. I told my dad, "Hey, 2 guys just jumped me after this baseball game. I was walking," and he said, "Well, you got to learn how to defend yourself," and it was just, I think I was 12, 13, going to high school. I grew up in Canada. I live in the States now, but you'd go to high school when you were 13. And there was only one school near me. It was a Taekwondo school. I would walk there or get a lift. It was a couple miles from the house. And I fell in love with it. And I trained 7 days a week, right? I would roll out of bed. I'd hit a Makiwara before I went to the bathroom. On the way to the bathroom, I'd shadow box on the way to the bathroom, right? Just in love with it. But I didn't have the self-awareness to describe what I felt then, but I do now. And it was, if I got good at this, that would empower me, and I would be able to manage my fear. I would overcome the fears. But I make the joke, like, I was afraid of everything, but I was outgoing. I wasn't picked last on the team. I was like a strong athlete. But when I'd be up at bat, or when I'd be at the top of a ski hill, or I'd be at the start of a race, all I was thinking about is, okay, I need to throw up. I am so nervous.
Oh, anxiety and what have
Yes, yeah.
Now, what's interesting is this: none of my trainers and coaches thought or had the understanding to discuss that and bring that. And even today, a lot of people don't, or it's just what's the best way to describe this? It's like pop culture. Hey, there's nothing to fear but fear itself, and it's shared as a meme as opposed to let me get in your head. I'll give you an example. I was training this kid named Sean for a kickboxing title in the 90s. And in amateur kickboxing, you probably know this, but if you don't, I'll share for your audience. In amateur kickboxing, it's 3-round fights, but the title fights are 4 rounds. And you got a minimum kicks and all the regular stuff. So I say to Sean, before the fight, he's warming up, he's shadow boxing. I sit down, I'm watching him, and I go, "How do you feel, kid?" And he goes, "I feel good, coach. Nervous, but I feel good." So I stand up and I go, "Let me tell you something. You're supposed to be nervous. You're about to get into a fight. And even if the other guy standing across from you is standing there," and this is back in the Roberto Duran era, if he's standing there and he looks like Duran, hands of stones, he's just glaring at you, know that inside he's got butterflies in his stomach too. His heart is beating too. He's thinking, "Shit, I'm about to get in a fight," even though the facade is like stone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And we hit gloves, he hits my hand, and I go, "You got this, kid." And he goes back and he's shadow boxing. And that alone is a cool story, right? It's like out of a boxing or fighting movie, right? But what I did is I said something to him that none of my coaches ever said to me. It's okay to be afraid. Right. It's okay to be nervous, but you still got to do. So one of the things in our No Fear program, we tell people there are lots of things in life you need to do afraid. You can't have, there's no such thing as no fear, N-O fear, but there's a way to get to no fear, K-N-O-W, which is the name of our program. Now, you would think that's the end of the story, but it's not. This is the cool part. So the system that I've developed helps tune us into the self-awareness piece that I was talking about earlier. And I'm sitting back down there talking to the guy that's helping me in the corner. And all of a sudden I start to get a nagging feeling. My intuition is trying to get my attention. And I'm like, what's going on? And all of a sudden I realized, as good as my answer was, it was a meme answer. There weren't memes back in the early 90s, but the or late 80s, whenever this was. But it was like it was more of a, just like a metaphoric answer. Everyone's supposed to be afraid. It's okay. Now watch what I did. I looked at Sean and I said, "Sean, I got to apologize for that answer." He goes, "What are you talking about? It calmed me down. I feel good. I'm supposed to be nervous. I'm okay." I go, "Yeah, but I didn't ask you." And listen carefully, guys, because you're both coaches, mentors, trainers, instructors. I looked at him and I said, "But I didn't ask you what you're afraid of. What is the source of your nervousness?" I gave you a blanket answer.
Yeah.
because maybe he had a contused rib from sparring that he didn't want to tell me about. He's worried about it. Maybe he didn't sleep for 3 nights. Maybe he has the stomach flu. Maybe he's dehydrated. Maybe he just had a fight with his girlfriend and his head's all over the place and he's not going to focus on strategies. Like because the more specific you can identify the fear, hey, I'm about to get in a gunfight and I'm really nervous. Well, you should be nervous. You're about to get in a gunfight. What are you nervous about? I have no ammo. Okay, that's a big problem.
Yeah, exactly.
No ammo, right? I'm not, right? Do you see where I'm going? So I looked at him. I go, Sean, what are you afraid of? He goes, it's stupid. I go, it's not stupid. Tell me. He said, nah, it's like it's the dumbest thing. I go, Sean, what exactly is making you nervous? He said, well, this is my first title fight. I've never done 4 rounds. I mean, I've done 10 rounds in the gym. I fought a bunch of 3-round fights. But I'm like, keep thinking, can I go 4 rounds? Can I go 4 rounds? Like, I would have never guessed that. Now imagine this. Imagine you have a fighter who's worrying about his endurance in the 4th round. So he's taking it easy on his flurries and his movement in rounds 1 and 2 and 3 so that he can finish strong. Maybe he misses an 8 count. Like, maybe he misses an 8 count. Maybe he misses his 8 kick minimum count. Right, and he screws up because he's playing it safe. So check this out. I look at him. I go, whoa, yeah, okay. So I said, Sean, can you do 2 rounds? He goes, yeah, of course. I said, so just do 2 rounds twice. And he did what you did, Dean. He went, okay, and he smiled, started shadowboxing around. And at the end of the 2nd round, I looked at him in the ring. I squirted water in his mouth, and I said, "Can you do 2 rounds?" He said, "Yes, I can." And he went out, won the title that night. What's amazing, just like in a bad movie, if you've ever cornered or worked or sparred in a amateur kickboxing round, it's a 16-foot ring. It's 14 feet inside the ropes. You're 14 feet. That's where Bob is.
Yeah, right. Now,
you can hear the other corner if you're listening.
Yeah.
And just as I said, can you do 2 rounds? He said, yeah. I said, do 2 rounds twice. That fighter looks at his corner man and goes, Coach, what round is this? What was amazing about that, like if you've ever competed, time gets a little weird. Your legs feel you lose sense of things. It was perfect. Anyways, he won. But, like I look at that and like that's the role of us as instructors, coaches. Yeah, it's okay. This is how you grip your stick properly. This is how you're gonna manipulate the knife. This is the target. But the ability to make that happen in sparring or in self-defense has more to do about understanding the neurobiology of fear, the neurobiology of survival, and how your executive function, which controls your cognitive brain, can get messed with by what's happening externally, not internally.
Oh, okay. So, wow. Actually, because I want to segue into that, just due to time allotment.
Sure.
We know we got to get you out of here at 12 your time.
And I'm happy to always, Dean. I'm always, my door's open anytime you want to have me on.
Yeah, no, and always have a part 3.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, we're more than happy to have you back on. Just with regards to, folks can look, I'm definitely going to post your websites and what have you. But why is there? In other words, I look at the FMA community, and I think your stuff is gold, and especially the drills that I've kind of made. And I'm not saying they're unique to me. I'm sure other people are doing them. To incorporate that biological response and that flinch, and then from there weaponize it. So my question to you is, why does it seem like the community is apprehensive to incorporate that, regardless of the system, style, and all that? Is it because they're the attachment to what they do, or what do you think? What's your opinion?
I think there's multiple answers. In some places, it's ego. In some places, it's pride. In some places, it's a natural, what's called an unconscious bias, where if I called one of you up and you didn't know who I was, and I said, listen, I'd like to come in and do a seminar for your black belt instructors so I could make you safer in the street, you'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? Right?
Yeah, of course, yes.
Because our unconscious bias thinks like we don't know what we don't know.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So, like someone just calls you up and offers you something better than what you've got, unless you've said, man, I got problems with my tires or my brake or my car, and then someone says, I can fix your car for you. Like, now you're interested. But if you don't know there's a problem and so you think it's a scam, you're trying to
sell they're not even aware. Correct.
You're trying to sell me some warranty I don't need. Right? So it takes. Listen, I've got, like I said, close to 200 affiliates around the world. Like some of them, when they get involved with me, are like, I've got to keep. I've been following your stuff for years, kind of lurking. But I can't be very public about my relationship with you because my association will. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's those politics.
The journey, right? When the student gets lost in translation, to me, the student's the most important. Matter of fact, I just made a post FMA discussion, kind of centering around this. Who's more important, the student, the system, or the teacher? And to me, it's the student.
Yeah, but you've got wisdom in years. Maybe when you were 20, if somebody presented,
I might not have that insight.
You might have said, listen,
Maestro is the way.
Listen, if you're, have you been following the mass what's it called? The thing that Malone and Joe Rogan talked about, mass hypnosis,
mass hypnosis, yeah.
The psychosis. What do they call it? There was a mass formation psychosis.
Okay.
Right. So this is this idea that with 4 of the right conditions, you can pretty much put in a trance half the population, and it's the population that is missing critical thinking skills, where they're going, oh, so if I do this, I get a donut. If I do this, I get money. Oh, these influencers are saying, like, not realizing like something's going on, like at a marketing level that's never happened before. People are becoming billionaire, and you can't look at that and go, I'm going to wait a little bit more and get more research, and not judging anybody who wanted to go one way or another. But there's something different going on right now than there ever has been. And there's censorship, shadow banning, freezing rights, or eliminating of rights, concentration camps. I mean, relocation. There's all this shit going on. And we're not even allowed to scratch our head and put up our hand and ask a question.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So how does this tie to your question, Dean? When you go into a situation and the conditions are there, I'm nervous, I'm afraid, I got beaten up by this guy or this or that. So I'm feeling isolated, alone, scared, and I go in and someplace says, I will fix your problems. That's the implied. When you get to this level, you will be afraid of no man. You will be invincible.
Whatever, no man.
But whatever the myth is that we all bought.
Yeah, no, I bought some Kool-Aid back in the day. I mean,
right. and listen, this might sound again. A selective listener will be very offended by what I'm saying. What I'm talking about is just that it's natural. It's if your mother and father feed you this shit, if your school teachers feed you this shit, you believing
in that.
Right? I mean, half of the kids right now, don't get me started, Marxist, socialist education in our school.
Common Core.
Undermining it, So I don't want this misunderstood. It's not that martial artists are going, I've got a cult. And some do that, but most of them don't. What they're doing is they really believe in their art and their system, and they get a young, like an impressionable mind.
Yeah.
At what age do most people get hooked on martial arts? It's in our teens, right?
Yeah.
I would say early teens.
Like if you had a demographic, you wouldn't have like like the greatest number of signups are 50-year-old successful businessmen,
Yeah.
right? It's teens, and then we have impressionable minds. We get indoctrinated. We fall in love, and then that's the thing.
Mm.
Yeah, no.
So,
I mean, it's good.
so it's a natural thing, and I hope I genuinely hope that nobody was offended by my.
No.
I know you guys aren't, but I mean your audience. It's
I
just
don't think so. Answer
listen.
respectfully.
Listen, we are all addicted to our phones. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit. You know, we check it. It bings. We check it when we're driving. We're at dinner. We check something. Now, some of you might, and you got really good discipline. I've got great self-awareness, but when I don't want to do a big project at the office, I'll grab my phone and start messing through Instagram. And I catch myself. I go, dude, you're procrastinating because like I know, right? I understand that this is the line of Coke, that this is the hooker, that this is I'm making fun here, right? And it's distracting me from getting my shit together. I went triple X instead of PG for you, but
no, it's okay. It's okay.
But anyways, let me offer one other thing to that. Why don't people embrace other systems that would augment and enhance? A lot of that is the leadership, right?
I totally agree. I see an FMA all the
Yeah.
time. I totally agree.
If I think dad or mom is going to be pissed at me, I won't even entertain it, or I do it behind their back and it stays secret.
Yeah.
So I like when a student of mine says, hey, I've decided to, like, I had a guy that I've been training for 5-6 years. He's in the security business. We become friends. He's hosted seminars for his organization. He sent me a message over the summer. He said, hey, Coach Blauer, I hope this doesn't offend you, but my original martial art before I discovered your stuff was Aikido. And I want to go back to that and do that with my daughter. And I hope you're okay with that. And I'm like, dude, of course. Yeah. Right. Hold on a sec. That's my reminder to Kate. We're good for 30. But I said, man, of course, go do Aikido.
Sure.
You've trained with me for 5-6 years. You understand what real violence looks like. You got the scenario training done. You've done all the flip conversion. You've go enjoy your martial arts with your daughter, right?
Yeah.
And so that's like, so it's at some point it's the leadership position. Do your students know that it's okay? And again, monkey see, monkey do. Are you doing that? Are you?
Are you right? Are you the role model? Are
like,
you
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, are you in class, like showing a video of, let's say, if you're using me as an example, hey, here's a short video of Tony talking about nonviolent postures. And notice what he's talking about. He's quoting Musashi here, and he's showing this nonviolent and the start of flinch here. So let's say as an FMA specialist, you've got your knives on you. You got 400 knives that are hidden all over you. You're in a confrontation. But guess what? You can't just pull it out and go and start nailing a guy, because that's murder. You've got
that is murder. Yes.
You've got to first try to de-escalate, depending on where you live and what's going on. Of course, the scenario dictates everything, and force must parallel. But you can't just practice the physical side. There's a situational way.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
So if you're showing me talking about de-escalation, moral, ethical, legal, nonviolent postures, and then you're going, hey man, take it easy, calm down. And this guy comes at you, and you flinch and you engage and you overhook and you drive away, and then suddenly, his buddies get out of a car and one of them's got a machete or a baseball bat, and you're like, holy shit, that's a point where you can pull out your knife. Maybe you're using this guy as a shield and getting ready, because it's escalated to a deadly force scenario.
Exactly. Yes, that's true.
But people need to understand that what I call the timeline of violence. Very true. So Dean, to your point about being a role model, I have a lot of guys they'll email me because they understand, hey, Coach Blauer, is it okay if I show this video to my class? I think they need to really be thinking about this. And I'm like, yeah, thank you for asking. And of course, and sometimes those people end up coming to our train the trainer program. Listen, I've been coaching coaches and training trainers for decades now. Every single martial art, and concealed carry holders, and they come in because what I'm teaching them is the neuroscience of fear management, the neural circuitry of fear. What is the most efficient way to manage fear? Then I'm also teaching them again the startle flinch conversion, the whole spear system, and we're also teaching them the third block. And if you think about it, I always say if you can't manage your fear, you're gonna have trouble managing the fight.
Yeah.
Mind navigates the body. You could have really good skills. Excuse me. You could have really good skills in a demonstration. There's a lot of guys that are real good, and then they go to the tournament and they screw up because of the pressure.
Or the pressure, be able to handle it.
Right. So fear management is critical, and it maybe even supersedes technical skills.
Technical skills, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then the last part, if we're talking about FMA for the street, like you can't take like a dummy and stab the shit out of it and slash the shit out of it and go, look how effective this would be. Because like Bruce Lee said, boards don't hit back, dummies don't hit back.
Correct.
So you need to have some force on force. Well, then you need to be careful that the force on force isn't sparring to highlight the FMA. If it's, again, my expertise is helping people make this battle ready, street ready, self-defense compliant. So to do that, so like if I came to your school, Dean, and you said, hey, let's do some scenarios. If you grabbed a knife and I grabbed the stick and we put on equipment and start, that's not scenario training, that's sparring.
No,
correct.
Yeah, still sparring, yes.
Scenario training would be you're sweeping out the garage and I walk into the garage and I with a gun and I go, get in the fucking house, and you got a broom in your hand and you knock the gun out of my hand, break the stick, and now you got two sticks in your hand, and you've figured out a way to scenario adapt your FMA skill, but you're dealing with the holy shit moment. You're not starting like if I shoot. When you go to the range and you stand there with the gun ready and the range master says range is hot, you're not doing scenario training. You're just practicing.
No, it's just practice.
You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's the third thing. So we do the three things that we coach trainers on is one is our no fear program. Then we teach people on startle flinch, weaponizing startle flinch, because any human can be surprised. I could be here talking to you. I'm in my garage gym. Someone sneaks up on me. I'm the spear master. Someone sneaks up on me and goes boo, and I'll go, oh shit, like I'll still, because I'm a human.
Yeah.
Right. And then the third area that's probably the least practiced, and those that practice it sometimes spar instead of do scenarios, is scenario-based training. And I've been doing that since 1980.
Which is incredible, because that's something we adapted when one of our training partners went to go see you, and we changed everything to scenario. And we started with the backs turned, you turn around.
You're talking about Adrian?
Somebody is coming with something. And I can't tell you, as far as perception and reaction development and an enhancement thereof, nothing has enhanced. I can't speak on everybody. For me personally, nothing has enhanced my perception and reaction deeper than some of these scenario based, I call, lack of a better word, drills. But I got my other question here. I'm gonna just because due to time constraints, I'm gonna tie Tom's question into there. As far as FMA drills and all that, so this is a kind of a two-part question, kind of fusing things together, just again because of time. As far as FMA drills, I think your stuff could be incorporated there and enhance the drills. And I want you to speak on that. Tom's question is, how do you incorporate the psychological timing as early as doing drills when developing transition responses to stimulus? And then if you want to segue there, do you think which you can incorporate your material in FMA drills like Hoobit, Lubit, Sinawali, all, FMA is heavily drill based.
So which question do you want me to hit first?
Why don't you take Tom's?
So repeat it one more time because it was
Sure.
a lot.
Oh yeah. That was a lot.
The connection, stimulus response reaction time training.
Tom, is that about right?
Sorry?
What Coach just mentioned, did that sound good to you? But I'll repeat it.
Repeat it.
What Tom is asking is, how do you incorporate the psychological training as early as doing drills while developing transitions and responses to stimulus, which kind of fits along FMA drills, you know?
Yeah.
So like the whole area of when you say, you know, how early or when do you put it in, you're talking about in the students, like in the life cycle of a student who's been there 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, or at which part of the training?
No, at any part at any part. Like for example, when you're doing drills, when you're trying to get them used to, of course, you start with the physical aspect of the training, and then when do you start like incorporating the psychological aspect?
So that's a great question. So let me answer that two ways.
Okay.
We had a private seminar, just a one-day seminar for a 60-year-old woman that has a very large autistic son who her boyfriend had been reading about my stuff, contacted me and said, can you help? And I said, yeah. And I had one of my team design a program for them. So it was a one-day course. Because she's 60, her son, he would have these episodes every so often where he'd go up to hug his mom. And he would squeeze her, I love you, I love you, I love you. But he was so big and so strong that a couple of times his arms had slipped up and he was choking her.
Yeah.
And it got really scary. Like maybe he does soft tissue damage or kills her one day by accident. So they contacted me. So we know finger splayed outside 90, that if you can get in finger splayed outside 90 and you can get this quarter extremity, that if somebody grabs you and you can get your hand up, as long as you keep a carotid free and you can get a little space, and the episode would last about a minute. So she didn't need to know how to tap him out. She didn't know how to knock him out. She didn't need to know how to stab him and hit a nerve cluster or an artery. She just needed to weather 1 minute. So I had my team put together, the coach that was going to work with that family. I had her put together an outline of what she thought, and I would then review it. And she had our natural like introduction to start a flinch. It's the organic airbag. It's the strongest thing you can do. If I get this hand up in the way there, you can squeeze me as hard as you want. It's never going to collapse me like this. You'll always create this. You guys have probably played with the drill. You know how
structurally strong.
The pyramids are the only structure still standing. It's the shape of the pyramids, right?
Exactly, 45. Yeah.
So that geometry is there. You just got to finger splayed outside 90 and then try to get your body front towards enemy to maximize that. So they have this whole program set up, finger splayed outside 90, our spear flow drill, a couple of drills, some scenario, and then the psychology and the fear management was last. We'll end with the most important stuff. So I look at this, guys, and I went, this is beautiful, but I need you to take the fear management and switch it to the front. And my coach says, wow, I had that completely backwards. I go, no, these are all Lego blocks, right? I need situational awareness in a confrontation. I need internal dialogue. I need fear management. I need verbal de-escalation to be morally ethical. Hey, what do you want? Take it easy. You got the wrong guy.
Yes.
And then I need self-defense skills, and I need protective skills if I want to be preemptive. I need to know how to. So there's like these 4 or 5 stages that are subtle stages, and each one of them will inspire certain drills. This is what I mean by the timeline of violence. Understanding the slices that made up this confrontation. So, and again, the answer is deep here. When do you insert the psychological? we had one day to work, and I said to Katie, my instructor, I said, here's why we need the fear management at the front. They booked us for an 8-hour seminar.
Mm-hmm.
If for the first 6 hours, this woman is going, I'm so scared. I can't believe it's come to this, that I'm taking self-defense lessons against my son. I wonder if this will work. This can't work. I'm a small woman. He's big. If her inner talk, her self-chatter is fear-based and negative, is she truly absorbing the lesson?
No, she won't.
No.
She won't. No.
By clearing her fear in the beginning, she can then lean into going, oh my God, I feel so much better. Show me the drills.
Mm.
So that's the answer to you guys is, again, and this is like when I work as a consultant to, we do stuff with martial artists, self-defense instructors, like consulting to this type of thing. Like when do I put, there's some ingredients, like you're making apple pie, you got to lay the crust down first or you're going to have a problem, right? You can't, right?
Yep.
There's some things you got to go, hey guys, we're going to start sparring. Hey, coach, I don't know how to hold a stick yet. Oh yeah, okay. This is right. So there's some things. This is step one. This is step two. Grip, stance, footwork. And you build logically the skill set. But so it really depends on when. Like if you were doing a one-day seminar, let's say you got certified in our system and you started to inject it into your trainings, and you had a one-day FMA, full contact sparring seminar. You're having people come in, and you may not see them. They're from out of town. They're coming in. In that case, I would hit the psychology first. Mm-hmm. You only have them for a day. You guys, let's maximize your performance by clearing your fear. Let's talk about what is fear, how it messes with your head, even in a one-day seminar, because you have performance anxiety. How do you clear that?
Yeah. Okay.
If you've got somebody who signed up for a 12-week program, and then they might sign up for a year, or they're there as a student, you might have like in some of the schools, they'll do like, hey, Wednesday night is cerebral self-defense night. Every Wednesday, some of our instructors will do things, let's say it's a jiu-jitsu school. They start off the class going, hey guys, remember, like Coach Blauer says, the mind navigates the body. We're going to talk this. You have like a bigger, stronger person. You've got to clear your fear. That's the only way you're going to get into your flow state and access your skills.
Yeah.
So it's almost like in meditation, set your intention before you go. Is we got to remember that the mind navigates the body. If executive function, that part of our brain that controls our cognitive brain, that says do this, right? All answers are theoretical. If I asked you, Tom, what would you do if this happened? Dean, what would you do if this happened? You're on a podcast, an interview. You're making up your answer.
Yeah.
So am I. It's theoretical. Then when the shit hits the fan, we find out what we did.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the difference between what we practice and what we thought we would do and what we actually did, the connection is neural patterns and neuromuscular communication. How effectively did we train for this event? Did we replicate it? It's called stress inoculation. And that's that third thing I was talking about is the scenario training is what does that. I did a call about a month ago. I got booked by a big association in Europe, and they booked me for this 3-hour webinar on Zoom, and we were talking about gun scenarios. And I said, do you all practice gun scenarios? And they said, yes, we do. And I said, are you sure you're practicing gun scenarios, or are you practicing gun disarms?
Yeah. Yep. There's a difference. Yes.
So what's the difference? If I walk up to you and I go, give me your wallet, that's a robbery. Now I walk up to you and the gun's here and I go, move to the back of the car, get in the trunk. Well, that's an abduction to a secondary crime scene. Now you're there, I walk in and I shoot somebody in the classroom or a bar and everyone's like, fuck. And I'm looking at you and I shoot somebody and I'm like, this is an active killer.
Mm.
Each one of those scenarios will change our emotional psychological state.
Yeah.
Our
That's true.
proximity to the threat will be different in
Absolutely.
each
Mm.
scenario. So
Mm.
when people say we do gun scenarios, what they really mean most of the time is they practice gun disarms. They stand in front of each other and they go, here's a gun.
Okay, go. Okay, here's the gun.
And listen, Tom, this is what you said earlier. There's technique that has to be practiced.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, when I say that they hate Tony Blauer, they need a fucking Tony Blauer voodoo doll and they're sticking pins in my head. And listen, I'm just trying to make good guys safer.
Right.
I'm not saying
No.
don't do gun disarms. I'm saying
No.
now that you understand gun disarms, inject a problem based on a real scenario.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
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 No. I totally agree.
It's very,
Because-
it's very subtle.
Yeah, because that's how you can approximate also how a person's response to the scenario based on his fear, based on his core value. So
Well, Tom, the scenario reveals the capability gap.
yeah.
So I run a scenario, and I, like, let's say I do a multiple assailant scenario, and it takes me a minute to get off the floor, and I'm like, and the whole fight was a minute. If somebody's assessing me, they go, dude, your aerobic capacity sucks. Right? You had gear
Yeah.
on. Like, if there was no gear, this would have been worse. But look how out of breath you are. So
Yeah.
your headbutt was nice. The elbow was good. But now you can't run to escape or run.
Yeah.
to get
Because
help.
your cardio is done.
Right.
Yeah.
I may do a scenario and it finishes the scenario with a knife scenario. And then I throw a tourniquet on the floor and everyone looks at it. And I go, oh, you got cut there. You killed the bad guy, but you don't even know how to put a tourniquet on yourself.
You're self-managed.
Mm.
So scenario training, guys, reveals what we need to work on. This is again, this is all part of our scenario training. Is I'm not there to tell people, oh, you're not good, you're good. It's not about ego. It's about improving and enhancing our survivability quoescient. So you don't try to win a scenario. You do it for experience, and then you this. How was de-escalation? What was my situational awareness? What were my pre-contact cue of and then you could make it. So we've done scenarios where the whole thing, like an active killer scenario, that will run from situational awareness to barricading to medical, like all the way through, including the disarm and teaching people to take the bad guy down, and it's all, you got to manage your fear, you got to know what to do, and it changes. So that's why it's like one of our core concepts is the first question you ask before we start playing is, what's the scenario?
Right. We got
Exactly.
Coach,
Yes.
we got a little under 12 minutes left. So what I wanted to ask, I mean, and of course, you're more welcome to come back on. We would love it. What do you just see? And again, no right or wrong answer. I do this all the time with different guests that come in that have an outside lens looking into FMA that are not FMA purists. Maybe they dabbled, but it's not their steady diet, so to speak. As far as our community and you knowing some of the drills, being around people, how do you think overall as a community, like just things glaring things perhaps that you think would improve our community as a whole, as far as like adapting what I think your material, but excluding that perhaps?
Yeah, I think you should put me in charge, make me like in charge of the world.
So
and then everyone should buy my stuff.
Coach Tony Blauer?
Yeah. No, listen. That's a question I almost don't want to answer. Let me be. I'm not a big fan of politicians, but let me give you a political answer.
Yeah, get whatever you want to do.
It's every day I try to improve who I am.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quote I read in the 80s that I share all the time, all the time. Always be willing to give up who you are today for who you could become tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so it's really just everybody needs to look and go, what can we do better? I I can't go, listen, like your website sucks. You need to, it's not responsive on the phone. I can't read it. Like, what are you talking IT? I was talking about spiritual, ethical, like, oh, like I'm making a joke here less politics, more training, but that goes everywhere.
That seems like our community, huh, Tom?
Yes.
But
yeah.
Listen, why is that different than certain factions in jiu-jitsu? Why is that different than certain factions in Taekwondo?
It's all around there.
I think that you find it less in combat sports because at some point there's a moment where people collide. But in combat sports, in combat sports, you still have, like this organization or this group versus. I think that's always it's the history of the world. There's always been that.
I mean, it's definitely. I always like just getting opines from people that have refreshing ideas and insights that I know for absolute fact that can improve our community, such as yourself. And
listen,
all that.
I think doing this does that is bring on.
Yeah, which is what we try to
bring on. Yeah, that's why we're doing this. Yes.
And listen, maybe 100 people watch this and 97 of them go, I hate that guy Blauer. He's such a jerk. And three of them look up No Fear, and three of them, are instructors, and they show some videos, and then like we've got. I remember doing a seminar at Kieran Fitzgibbon's a combat sports academy, one of the biggest and best real fighting gyms in the world, CSA Sports. They've got UFC fighters, K1 fighters, jiu-jitsu, Bellator. They have a full-time Krav Maga program. Well, Kieran trained with me years ago, brought me into a school, did multiple seminars with me, and then when he expanded and it grew, brought me back, and he does this famous coaches clinic where he brings in like pro fighters and stuff. It's really, so I was flattered to be invited, and I came in to talk about fear, in fighting, and it was all coaches. Well, we had 6 we had 5-minute warning, guys, sorry.
Okay.
We had 6 people who don't teach self-defense. They're professional kickboxing, striking, Thai boxing coaches who had gyms who said, I want to come do your program because there's no belts, there's no uniforms in what we do. This is the psychology of fear. This is weaponizing the startle flinch. The startle flinch, like I always say, violence doesn't care what martial art you study.
Yeah, that's true.
When it happens, the first thing you're going to do, if it's close and surprise, is shit, right? The hands
are oh shit, yes.
You're going to push away danger. That's the body's organic airbag expanding. That saves you from the first crash, but maybe there's multiple impacts after that. The bad guy may not just run away just because you pushed away danger. Right. But we had 6 people from that first coaches clinic sign up who weren't in the self-defense community, but they came up to me after. They said, I got a Thai boxing school. And we always say, of course, you can use Thai boxing to defend yourself. Mm-hmm. But I realized listening to you that I'm hesitating to use the word that he used because I don't want to offend anybody, but I want you to think about it. He said, it's irresponsible of me as a leader as an owner of a gym that has, a couple hundred students who think they're getting self-defense. Right? Yeah. And I'm not teaching them about situational awareness. I'm not teaching them about management. Yeah. I'm just teaching them, you're the hammer, that's the nail, boom. Right. And he saw that, and he came in. So, listen, as a consultant, looking at FMA, I don't study you guys. I don't study other and go, oh, what are they doing right or what are they? I'm busy working on my own shit. I'm always, we just had a kind of our annual affiliate gathering on Sunday, and it was talking about all the new changes for 2022, stuff that we've been working on for months, new programs, new designs, new certifications for them, new ways for them to make their communities safer. So I'm not looking at what you're doing or other people are doing, but I can tell without looking at it, because you've alluded to it a bunch of times, is the politics. You've reacted to that. Everyone has that. Even the RBSD, reality-based self-defense.
Yeah, no, it's
it's
unfortunate.
But there's politics because there's people.
Mm.
Yeah, without
When
people, right?
When we get rid of the people, there'll be no
There'll be
politics.
zero politics,
Right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, likes like, right? You know, you know this, Dean. We joked about this. There's a lot of people who've ripped me off. There's a lot of people who
who have not given you credit,
right, who just, you know, and that's and listen, if I quote Dan Millman, or if I read something my favorite quote from Dan Millman: if you face just one opponent and you doubt yourself, you're outnumbered.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
I could reword it and then say Tony Blauer said, but I went, this is perfect. Dan Millman gets the quote. You know, what goes on around you compares little with what goes on inside you. Ralph Waldo Emerson, right? And now I'll talk about, what does that mean? How do you self-regulate? How do you create self-awareness? But part of the presentation will be the people that inspired.
Yeah.
Howard Gardner inspired my cycle of behavior. He said 80% of our motivation is derived from our expectations. And I took that and created a flow chart based on what is the connection between visualization, expectations, and motivation, and built a whole flow chart on how our brain thinks out of that. So again, why do people do this? It's fucking ego, always.
No, yeah, it is. It's just that I always like to get insight from. It's just because, again, this is why we bring folks on like yourself, because again, to kind of say, hey, look, guys, you might want to listen to this. You might want to, check this out.
Yeah.
To broaden horizons.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and simultaneously to see like, hey, if we got rid of the ego and we actually work together, gosh, what a better community we would have.
Well, one of the things we can do is, I have a program called the Tactical Trainer that I teach in the law enforcement circles. And it's not about spear. It's not about scenarios. It's just about what are the things you need to know to be a good tactical trainer. And so maybe what we do is we host an actual 3-hour training that people need to pay for, because if they don't pay for it, they're not going to value it. They'll come in late, whatever. And you invite everyone in your community and we see who shows up. Maybe there's 2 people. Maybe
actually, that's a great idea.
But then they're getting this education. They're taking notes, and these are the little steps, because it's got to start with changing our thinking.
Oh yeah, no,
that's true.
Their current attachments, whether it be from a system or a teacher, they have to get rid of that and to embrace anything new. And that's like I run the group there where you just joined. Like I see it every day. Like these attachments they have, and the reluctancy to go over to a different lane or check something out. I mean, they're very, not all of them, of course, but a good percentage are very in that lane.
Dean, let me interrupt here because I got to roll. Why don't you build in Google Docs an anonymous survey? I mean, I hate anonymous because it means fear is preventing you from putting your hand up, and I'm managing fear.
I'm used to it.
But fear is near and dear. So it's like, why don't you want to put your name on this, right? But do an anonymous survey saying, hey, what are things we could change? What don't you like? Because when somebody doesn't want to try something, if you gave me 5 minutes with them, I would come back to you and tell you what it is. Right.
Sure.
In other words, you got to ask the right questions. Hey, why don't you want to bring this guy and learn from him? Oh, I'm too busy. Come on, you're not too busy. I think it's a conflict in movement because we like this flow angle, and he does this, and we're more. No, like I'm just saying, be a sponge, learn.
Yeah.
Why can't? When you ask the 7 questions, it comes down to. Like maybe well, I'm afraid that I might like this stuff better, and then what do I do? Or I'm afraid that it'll cause a problem politically with this grandmaster over here, or I don't want to look bad because, like you look at somebody who's, let's say, a better athlete than you, and they do a demo that looks a little more ballistic, a little bit more speed or flash. You're like, I don't really want to bring that guy into my school.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh,
There's a lot of
things. Coach, just for your sake, we just hit an hour, so I don't want to.
Yeah, let's gather some feedback from your community on some.
Oh, I will. So, would I contact Jenny in regards to that?
What's that?
Would I contact Jenny in regards to getting a pool of us to take that course of yours?
Yeah, just email me and CC her and just say, hey, let's set up that course and we'll make it happen. I would love to. Yeah. Do it.
Yeah, I'll be interested.
Yeah.
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 There's no downside.
I don't see it.
People just get smarter because they're thinking.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna put the survey out there and definitely get a group of people and do it. I'll be in touch with you and Jenny. I thank you so much again for coming on. And I know you're busy, but just say the least.
Thank you for your time.
This won't be the last you see of me and Tom. So
okay, thank you guys.
All right,
take care. Be safe.
You take care.
Take care too. Take care too. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Wow, as always.
Cliffhanger.
Enjoyable. I could listen to that guy like all day. He just resonates with me more than, like, I hate to say it, like people who are in our community. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I like his approach because basically he incorporates the psychological aspect as early as he can actually
I think
incorporate
the whole fear thing though is what's really like that, like addressing that fear and but I definitely, so our job is to see what we can facilitate this, get people such as us that would take his course. So construction would be the place to push that. Get people that are in it or down for it. His secretary is really nice, so I'll reach out to her.
Okay.
And say, hey, we're in the midst of getting some folks together and and see who's definitely. Obviously, the more there are of us,
the better. Yeah.
I'm going to assume the cheaper it's going to be. So, who is next? Who you got?
We got Oliver Garduce, Pintados on Thursday.
So that's okay. So that's definite. What time?
That's definite. That's gonna be 11 o'clock here in the UK. That's around, I think, 6 o'clock your time.
Which would be 4 o'clock, Brian. Can Brian do it? Did he say?
Well, he said he can, but we'll see.
No. I know he gets out of work early, but if you do run into a problem where he can't, let me know. I can see what's going on. But hopefully he can. I don't know what I got going on, but that's good. We finally get him on, and then after him, I think I might have the Dan and Jason Sunday night. Those guys are basically creating that whole booklet. Articles.
The Angle One.
Angle One.
Angle One.
Hear from them. Yeah, really.
What time on Sunday?
I'm going to assume it's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern time, but I haven't solidified that with them. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, so they're definitely coming on and all that. So, folks, definitely check that out. You're going to want to see this booklet these guys are doing.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
I still owe them an article.
So, folks, basically, this is going to be, if I had lack of a better comparison, kind of Stephen Dowd, kind of taking off in his footsteps. Basically, people are submitting articles, and they're compiling booklets. And if I'm not mistaken, talking to them, I think they already have, as far as people that are participating, going to be having 4 booklets coming out. The first one should be, if I'm not mistaken, also coming out the end of this month or the very end of February. Yeah. Stay tuned for that. This is their art graphics of what they're doing. I think is phenomenal. I wish I had some stuff to pull up, but they're going to be posting some stuff in FMA discussion. Check them out. They're again Jason Ward and Dan. I don't want to do an abomination on his last name.
They did a new logo for FMA discussion, the one with the podcast, the one that I incorporated in the video, right?
Yeah, that was all them. That was all.
Yeah,
them. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah.
Just so you guys can see, let me see if I can actually bring that up. Yeah, guys. Good thing. Yeah, good thing you brought. Yeah, because actually I could show that now, and they'll kind of get an idea, as far as their, yeah, basically what what they're doing, what they're working on, and all that. Let me just see.
I think in the first edition, Manong Tini is the. I think it's.
There's Mariontini. There's myself. I forget who else is in the first edition. Robert Parks. I can't. God darn it! Where can I pull this from?
What the video? The intro.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Anyway, folks, just check out FMA discussion. Again, you're going to see their stuff coming out, and it's going to be great. There's going to be a compilation, different styles of people putting in articles of their choice, talking about their systems. I chose to do one, Empty Hand Against Knife, and all that, but just some really good stuff that's coming out. So be on the lookout. Again, Jason Ward and Danny with a K. Cookets, I think. Hope he's not.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope he's not. But anyhow, you know what, you guys, if you guys check out their episode this Sunday, they're going to be showcasing a bunch of their artwork, what they're doing for the article. So you'll get basically what they're doing. So yeah, this Sunday.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be a wicked interview.
Yeah, I think so. They're good guys. They really are. I think they're just. I think what they're doing is, Danny Cookets. Yeah, I think I was right. Not good enough. But yeah, that's good. Hopefully Sunday night. But if you are nothing going on Thursday, episode 244.
Yeah, it's gonna be with Oliver Gardusek, or AKA Pintados.
And he's Philippines, correct?
No, he's Filipino, but he resides now in Canada. He's Canadian. Yeah, he's in Canada now.
There's some gems in Canada. That's one thing through these interviews I found out, like just how much talent Canada has. I think my opinion, severely overlooked. But all right, folks. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you have not already, please subscribe to FMA Discussion on YouTube. All the money that we receive from the channel goes to charity. We give it all to them. So you're just helping other people. We don't keep anything of it. Okay. So everything we do is on our own time. All right. Tom, as always, a pleasure. Thank you for
always. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Anytime. All right, folks. Thursday night. Check out that episode, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and Sunday.
Right. Stay safe, guys.
All right. Take care.